Alright, hello there. Hopefully this will be my last video of 2021, considering that you should be seeing this on New Year's Eve. And more importantly, I'm just going to say this right now. I know a lot of people are going to be celebrating. Please celebrate smart. Please celebrate safely. If you are driving tonight after midnight, please don't drink. Please, that's all I'm asking. If you are going to be around other people outside of your household, I would recommend to just wear a mask because I got invited to an event. I declined because I'm watching the college football playoffs later tonight. And obviously, I have food being brought over from a deli that I planned weeks ago. But, yeah, if you're going to a New Year's Eve party, just hold off on the hugging, hold off on the kissing. Just wear a mask if you're going to be around other people tonight, is what I'm recommending. But as far as what the first day of the new year has in store, this is going to be my predictions for WWE Day 1. And I'm making sure that this video gets posted at high noon, because then I can submit it over to OWN. Frank Tadero, my former co-host of Spam, can review everything. He'll give me the form and I'll take care of that. But we are going to make my predictions for Day 1, which is very unusual for WWE. They've never held a pay-per-view on the first day of the new year. This is a very interesting concept that Vince McMahon has come up with, considering that the next pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble, will also be held on a Saturday later on in January on the 29th. So we're going to take a look at the matches on tap, get into the location of where this pay-per-view is, and we're going to read this article from CBSSports.com. So we're going to read along here. We do know that tomorrow, we know that the kickoff show will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the main card at 8 p.m. The pay-per-view will be available on Peacock tomorrow for the first day of the new year. And we know everywhere else you'll have to watch on the WWE Network outside of the United States. So, that being all said, let's get into our matches. Now, the reason why I'm also doing this today is, remember, there is no Friday Night SmackDown tonight. So obviously they couldn't tape an episode. Christmas Eve was the pre-taped show, the go-home show, and obviously we know that Raw was live on Monday, which Raw was pretty good. I mean, they actually showed that they do care about this event on Saturday. But anyhow, we're going to start off with a match from SmackDown, and that is the Celtic Warrior. No, I don't know what the nickname for Drew McIntyre is, but we'll just call him Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. So obviously, Madcap Moss, the sidekick of Baron Corbin, which on screen he's called Happy Corbin. The two are set to battle after an odd build that included trying to remove McIntyre's sword from a desk and a Miracle on 34th Street match on Christmas Eve. McIntyre is mostly treading water until he gets his next boost in the main event picture, and knocking off Moss sets him up to move on to Happy Corbin as a stay busy storyline. So I'm in agreement on that. I think he will face Happy Corbin sometime on SmackDown later in January. But as far as McIntyre for this match, he does get the win. Next up, we have a very anticipated match from Monday Night Raw. The Hall of Famer Edge taking on a possible future Hall of Famer, two-time Grand Slam champion, The Miz. So, Edge made his return to Raw. He listed a variety of potential opponents, but he left The Miz's name out. Then, a couple weeks ago, The Miz returned. Yes, after I guess a pretty good stint on Dancing with the Stars. My mom watches it, I'll go on the record, and she said The Miz is actually very talented on the dance floor, so. And they did call him The Miz on the screen name, and believe it or not, when I was watching Raw, they were promoting to vote for The Miz live, so that's a good sign right there. Miz turned down a chance to go one-on-one then and there, but the two eventually agreed to the clash at day one. Miz spiced things up by hitting Edge with a skull-crushing finale. This led to later on the storyline where Maurice got mad for whatever reason. She slapped The Miz. Then, for whatever reason, they decided to renew their wedding vows. The worst general manager in history comes back. Why would you bring in Eric Bischoff? That didn't make any sense. And then the good part came when Edge interrupted the renewal of Miz and Maurice's wedding vows. And then Miz brought out that black slime that he did to Seth Rollins a while back. So, obviously, this should be a good match. I do think Edge is going to win. And here's why I think he will win. I think they're going to continue this storyline possibly into March, maybe February, I don't know. But I just don't see this being the last match. I mean, when Edge builds up a rivalry, he does a good job with it. I mean, we saw that with Seth Rollins recently. So, and he did it with Randy Orton. And he did it with Roman Reigns. So Edge always knows how to cut good promos. He was always like that back in the day with John Cena. So obviously, I just think that Edge should win the first match. But do not expect this to be the last match. I could see maybe a rematch at the Royal Rumble. I could maybe see a rematch happening on Raw. But Edge will win for now. Then we'll see what will happen in the storyline in January. Okay, so next up we have the Raw Tag Team Championships. RK Bro, the team of Randy Orton and Matt Riddle taking on Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, better known as the Street Profits. Randy Orton and Matt Riddle needed challengers for their tag team championships on the red brand. In their interest, they set up the RK Bro Namit, which the Street Profits won by defeating the Mysterios in the finals. It's not the most complicated story, but it should make for a very good match. So, obviously, we know what's going on. And we obviously know that things have just gotten hectic over on Raw with their tag team division. Now, there was again the tournament. And obviously, we know what's going on here. I just don't think the Street Profits are going to beat RK Bro. Why would you defeat them? RK Bro is the best part of Raw, besides Big E. Why would you make them drop the titles? That would be dumb. That would be very dumb. So, right now, I just see, at this particular moment, I'm just saying this, we do have to see RK Bro 1. So, they are going to win. I will be very surprised if, for whatever reason, the Street Profits win. And if they win, I will just be shocked, surprised, and, very stunned, to say the least. Raw Women's Championship on the line. We have Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. The man is on a good run since coming back from her layoff to give birth to her first child with her husband Seth Rollins, having put on good matches with nearly everyone she has set foot in the ring with. Liv Morgan failed to beat Lynch in a title match on Raw, but threw out a challenge for a rematch. Lynch didn't initially accept, attacking Morgan instead, including stomping on Morgan's arm, and it was pinned between the ring and ring post. Once Morgan's had been appropriately compromised, Lynch accepted the rematch. So, I'm going to say this right now. I think we are going to have a new champion. So, it is going to be Liv Morgan's time. I made a Facebook post privately to a couple of friends of mine, and I said, look, this has to be it. I mean, it's now or never for Liv Morgan. I mean, you've been pushing her for a while, and this is her time. If she doesn't win now, then when is it? It has to be this time. So therefore, your winner and your new champion will be Liv Morgan. Now, as far as SmackDown is concerned, Charlotte Flair recently retained her championship, but there has been some unfortunate news from WWE. Toni Storm has been let go of WWE. And apparently this was on her own incognizance. There's a rumor going around that at the moment she is considering going to Impact. She is considering going to AEW, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Charlotte Flair, I'm sorry if you're disappointed, but she will not be defending the championship at this pay-per-view. But Charlotte Flair will be around in the new year. Only problem is, what happens, we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe Alexa Bliss comes back. I'm hoping she does, because that would be huge to give Charlotte Flair a legitimate contender. So we'll have to wait and see. SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the Usos taking on the New Day. In helping Roman Reigns ahead of his Survivor Series match with Big E, the Usos took out Kofi Kingston and destroyed King Xavier Woods. With Kingston back in action, the two New Day members are looking for revenge and yet another championship reign when they face off with the Usos at Day 1. I'm going to be honest here. I think the New Day are going to win. And the reason why I think they will win is because you need a good way to keep the storyline going between the Usos and the New Day for a little bit longer. But we'll have to wait and see. But this is a sign that we're going to start to see the decline of Roman Reigns. It leads up to that whole theory about how you're going to have possibly The Rock coming back later this year. There's a rumor that he may win the Royal Rumble, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Next up, we have the Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns taking on Brock Lesnar. Reigns beat Lesnar, a crown jewel, with a load of help from the Usos. An enraged Lesnar attacked on SmackDown, and attacked to carry over into the thrashing official Adam Pearce. Lesnar was subsequently suspended for his actions after Sami won a battle royal on SmackDown to decide the next challenger to Reigns' title. It was announced that Brock would be returning to SmackDown December 3rd. Reigns manipulated Zayn into immediately taking his shot at Reigns on SmackDown, with Lesnar getting the shot at the winner at Day 1. Lesnar then took out Zayn before the match to ensure an easy win for Roman, and the rematch Lesnar wanted to kick off in the new year. So this is where it leads to my theory of why Brock Lesnar will go back to Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns is going to defend the championship. And the reason why Roman will defend the title is so that way it can be all set up for the match at WrestleMania against The Rock. I just know The Rock's coming back. He is going to come back. Trust me. I know he will. There's been build up towards it. Roman has said he even wants to face his own cousin. So who's to say that The Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania? I think The Rock will come back. And if he doesn't, it's not going to be tomorrow. I know that. It's not going to happen. Now, if it does happen, I will be very shocked because I'm keeping my theory that The Rock's going to enter the Royal Rumble and win. That's my theory at the moment. I'm still going with that theory. That The Rock's going to be number 30 and he will win the Rumble. But if he doesn't, then maybe they bring back The Rock in another part. But until then, Brock's going to lose. Then the next night, guess what's going to happen on January 3rd? Big E's going to cut a promo, and then Brock Lesnar is going to come out, and he's going to want to challenge Big E for the WWE title at the Royal Rumble. I think that will happen, and that's where it leads to my theory on why Big E will win. Because they're just building this up for a waste of time. Obviously, we know what happened. I'm not going to read this. All I'm just going to say is back in late October, Rollins won a match on Raw that guaranteed him a future title shot. Big E was tied up with Roman at Survivor Series. We know that happened. Then Rollins announced that he wanted to face one-on-one Big E at day 1. So, Owens apparently got himself into the match. Then later on, Lashley said, hey, I want to have a championship again. So that's what happened. But I just don't think Big E's going to lose. I mean, it leads up to how Brock Lesnar's going to be back on Monday Night Raw. I just see it happening. I don't know. I could see Brock being back on Raw. It is going to happen. And if it doesn't, then I'll be shocked about that then. So there you go. That is my predictions for day 1. So, again, Happy New Year. Enjoy the pay-per-view tomorrow. I will have Andy Plays ready for you all on January 2nd. So until the next one, please take care.